evening, Gators. My name is Estelle, and this is Vinyāsa Yoga. I want to thank you all for joining me this evening and trusting me with your practice. For today, we're going to do a gentle class. We're going to start a warm-up on our mats, and then we will slowly work our way up to standing, and then at the end, we will finally come back down for our final relaxation. So just some quick things. All you'll need is a mat, a carpet, grass, towel, just something that you can lay on and feel comfortable. You want to be able to fully relax that body. Also, you might need a block. This can be a textbook, a pillow, anything that will add some height and stability if you are not ready to fully reach down or whatever the case may be. Sometimes sitting, placing it under your hips kind of relieves some of that stress. So to start, we're going to start with our first relaxation. So you can do this either seated up, you can lay back with your knees up towards the ceiling, or you can have those legs fully extended. To start, if you are laying down, we're going to have our palms facing down towards our mat to really feel our grounding foundation here. And I'm going to do mine seated. For this first relaxation, I'm going to take this time to check in. Check in with yourself. Figure out why you chose to take this class today. What are you hoping to gain? How are you feeling? How's your body feeling? Are we tired? Do we have any pain? Are we stressed? Are we happy? Whatever it is, acknowledge it, accept it, and leave it out the door. You want to be present in this moment here. You do not want any distractions, any outside, external distractions. We're going to take this time to check in with our mats or whatever our grounding foundation is. We want to get our body used to relaxing on this surface, really becoming one with whatever it is, so that we can find our breath. When you're finding your breath, I want to take a big, deep breath in through the nose. Big exhale out through that mouth. Letting everything out. Letting those thoughts slowly quiet. If you notice you're having a hard time turning the mind off or turning it down, try focusing on your breathing. Place one hand on your chest, one hand on your stomach, and pay attention to the rise and fall of both. With each breath, feeling it on the inside and outside of our body. If you are sitting up, you're going to take this time to swing those legs around. Fully extend those legs and slowly, one vertebrae at a time, bringing that head down to our mats. Again, those palms are facing down so that we can become one with our grounding foundation. On our next inhale, we're going to raise that right leg up towards the ceiling. Grab those Bring those hands to the back of that knee, right around where our thigh ends and our knee begins. And we're just going to slowly pull this knee into our chest, flexing the foot that is on the ground. We want to try to elongate our lying leg while we are stretching out those hips. With every inhale and exhale, we're pulling that knee closer into our chest, getting a deeper stretch, flexing that foot, elongating through the heel of that lying leg. On that next inhale, we're going to raise that left leg into our chest, placing one hand behind each knee slash thigh area. We're just going to bring those knees into our chest, rocking side to side, letting those hips sink into those pockets. Feel free to roll these ankles around. We're taking this time to warm up that lower body. On that next exhale, we're going to release that right leg. So that right leg now becomes our lying leg, flexing that foot. And that left knee, we're pulling that knee into our chest, stretching out those hips. Again, rolling those ankles if you need to. We are just waking up the lower half of our body. And on that next exhale, releasing this leg along our mat. From here, we're going to bring the heels of our feet closer to our hips and our fingertips, bringing our knees up towards the ceiling. On our feet, roughly hip distance apart. We're going to go into some glute bridges from here. So on that next exhale, you're going to raise those hips up towards the ceiling, squeezing those glutes at the top, pausing for just a moment, and inhale, one vertebrae at a time, slowly bringing those hips back down to our mat. And again, we're exhaling those hips up. Waking up that lower back and those glutes. Just two more here. And last one. Since we just worked the back, we're going to work the front. So we're going to take our hands, and we're going to place them behind our head. We want to keep our chin off of our chest, looking up towards the ceiling, or having our eyes closed. It is up to you. From here, we're going to do some core engagement. So we're going to lift up that chest, keeping that chin off our chest, rolling those shoulder blades off our mat. Exhaling up at the top. Inhaling, slowly bringing the head back down to our mat. And again, we're exhaling, crunching it up, keeping that chin off our chest, lifting up those shoulder blades, and slowly bringing that head back down to our mat. Got about 3 more of these. And last one here. And release those arms, bringing them back down to our mats. From here, we're going to transition to all fours. So we're going to drop one leg down, does not matter what side. Drop that other leg over on top, rolling that body over, swinging those arms, and swinging those knees last. When we're on all fours, we'll start from the top down. We want our gaze looking a little bit higher than the top of our mat. We want our neck in neutral. We're going to have our wrist right underneath our shoulders, roughly shoulder distance apart. We're going to have our knees underneath our hips, hip distance apart. And to start, we're going to place the tops of our feet down on our mats. I'm going to take a moment to let our bodies adjust to being on all fours. Again, keeping that neck neutral, looking a little bit beyond the top of our mat. Keeping that spine neutral. From here, we're going to go into some cat-cows. So on our next inhale, we're going to drop our belly button down to our mat. Bring your tailbone up towards the ceiling, letting our gaze follow. And on that exhale, we're going to push through the palms of our hand, rounding out that back, tucking that chin into our chest, trying to bring our belly button all the way up towards the ceiling. And reverse. We're inhaling our belly button down to our mats, exhaling the belly button up towards the ceiling. The most important thing about yoga is your breathing. You never want to be holding your breath in any pose, and you never want to not let your breath guide your movement. If you feel like your breath is really long and you're staying in these poses for a long time, that's absolutely fine. If you feel like your breath is really short and you're having to make your movements a lot quicker, that is also fine. We're letting our lungs lead our movements. And we are going at our own pace. Does not matter what I'm doing, what the person next to you is doing, who hopefully is 6 to 10 feet away from you. We're letting our own bodies guide our practice. Just 2 more. When we're done, we're just going to return to neutral spine. And then we're going to tuck those toes underneath. Or not underneath, we're just going to tuck our toes for some added stability. From here, we're going to move into spinal balance. So we are in the same position as before. Our wrists are underneath our shoulders, knees are underneath our hips. We're going to extend opposite arm, opposite leg. So when we raise that arm, we're going to reach through those fingertips, palms facing the midline of our body. We extend that leg, we're going to be extending through the heel, flexing that foot, trying to bring our toes up towards our head. So on that next inhale, we're going to raise that arm and opposite leg, reaching through those fingertips, reaching through those heels. And on that exhale, we're either bringing our hand and knee down to all fours, or we're bringing elbow to knee for some added core work. We're going to switch to the other side. Again, on that next inhale, We're raising that arm, opposite leg, extending through the heel, through the fingertips, keeping that neck and spine in neutral. On that exhale, coming down to all fours, or bringing that elbow to knee for some added core work. And alternating. Remember, we are following our own breath here. If you do not want to do that added core work, you do not have to. Your practice is up to you. If I ever hold any of these poses for too long and you are all set, feel free to go into a child's pose, a downward dog, whatever a rest looks like for you. If you ever lose your breath, don't be afraid to reset it. I know most of you probably aren't talking a lot, but still. Never feel like you have to inhale on the wrong pose or exhale on the wrong one just because of the way your breath is. You can always come back down to your starting position and start over. Just 2 more on each side. And when you're done, you can either stay on all fours or you can go ahead and bring those hips back, extending those arms in a child's pose. In this pose, you can bring your head all the way down to your mat. I will not, otherwise my mic will make funny noises. From here, we're going to transition into our half series. With this, our movements will move on each breath, so it'll move a little quickly. So to begin, on that next inhale, we're going to bring those hips forward into a kneeling plank. Exhaling the chest all the way down. Inhaling up into a full plank. Dropping those knees, pushing those hips back into a child's pose. And again, we're inhaling into a kneeling plank. Exhaling the chest all the way down. Inhaling up. And exhale back into our child's pose. Just 2 more times, following your own breath. And when we're finished, we're just going to rest in our child's pose. On that next inhale, we're going to transition to our first downward dog. I'm going to bring those hips forward, tuck those toes, lift up those knees, and push back on the palms of those hands. Want to have our fingers nice and spread apart. trying to spread our toes apart as well. We want to feel grounded and feeling every toe and anchor on our foot connected to our mat or grounding foundation. From here, feel free to bring those heels back, pedal those feet, wake up the back of those legs. This is our first downward dog, so feel free to do whatever feels comfortable. If you want to raise the leg up, roll those ankles, feel free to do so. From here, you can either walk, take a giant step, or jump those feet to your hands. And we're just going to bring our feet to hands and stay in this forward fold, letting our head hang heavy, arms hang as well. If you want to grab onto those elbows, feel free to do so. Rock side to side. Bend those legs, extend. And on that next inhale, slowly bringing the body up, one vertebrae at a time, bringing those hands to heart center. Going to the top of your mat, feet roughly hip distance apart, shoulders down and back. We're going to bring those palms down to our side, facing away from our body, presented to the earth in our mountain pose. For this pose, your eyes can be open or closed. It is up to you. We are letting our body adjust to being standing. Actually, I'll do it this way first. Maybe I won't. From here, we're going to inhale up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees, flat back. Exhale all the way down. Bending those knees, inhaling up, and sitting in our chair pose. And standing it up. 2 more times here, inhaling up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees, flat back. Exhale all the way down. Bending those knees, inhaling up, and sitting in our chair pose. And last time, inhaling up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees, flat back. Exhale all the way down. Bending those knees, inhaling up, and sitting in our chair pose. And back to mountain. From here, we're going to move to the lower body. So we're going to start by stepping back with that right leg. Both toes are going to face the top of our mat. We want that front leg bent, knee over ankle. We want that back leg fully straight. We want to engage our quads and hamstrings. So we're going to pretend that we're trying to close the gap between our legs. From here, whenever you're ready, you can either bring those hands all the way up into tree, or you can bring those hands to heart center, or you can bring those hands behind you. As long as that chest is open, shoulders are back and down, your arms can do whatever they please. We're activating our entire leg, glutes, hamstrings, and quads here. Really trying to pull these legs together as if they are a magnet. Taking nice big deep breaths in through the nose and out through either the nose or mouth. From here, we're going to open this up into our warrior. So we're going to rotate those back legs so that we're facing away from our mat. Bringing those arms down to shoulder length and averting our gaze to the top of our mat. And we're standing in this position. We want to make sure our hips are in line with each other, our ankles are in line with each other. If we were to have a wall in front and behind us, our legs would not be touching it. Again, those hands can either be fully extended at shoulder length or behind the back or in prayer, as long as the shoulders are down and back and that chest is open. Again, taking nice big deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose or mouth. From here, I'm going to drop that front forearm down to our front thigh. We're going to turn our gaze up towards the ceiling and let that other arm fully extend up towards the ceiling. For this next move, you might need your block, textbook pillow, whatever the situation may be, because we are going to move all the way down to our mat shortly. Again, we want to make sure that our body is still in alignment. We did not move our legs. The only thing we did was bring that upper body down. Want to make sure we're gazing up at the ceiling, the sky, those fingertips. If your shoulder is not about this, again, you can bring that arm behind you, just keeping that chest open. You can choose to stay here if you would like. If you want to take this to the next level, we're going to lift up that upper body, extend that front leg. And if you have a block, it's going to bring that hand down towards that block or textbook. It can be here, 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 or all the way down to that ankle or mat. Want to make sure that we're not adding any weight on this front leg. We're not leaning on it. We're placing that hand gently next to it. This hand has no weight. And that arm can be up towards the ceiling or behind, up to you. Taking nice big deep breaths. Just a few more breaths here. And when we're ready, we're going to slowly come out of this position. We're going to start by bending that front leg, bringing that hand down at our mat, up to that thigh, lifting that chest up. If our arm was up toward the ceiling, we're bringing it down. Rotating those back toes towards the top of our mat and driving that foot back up in our mountain pose. We're going to inhale up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees, flat back. Exhale all the way down. And then bend those knees. Inhaling up and sitting in our chair pose. And just 2 more times. We're going to inhale up. And last time. And back to our mountain pose. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we're going to step back with that left leg, both toes pointed towards the top of our mat. Again, we want that front leg bent, knee over ankle, hips in line with each other. Trying to pull those legs together, engage all the muscles in our legs, front and back. And then whenever you're ready, either going to bring those arms up into tree, bringing those hands into prayer, or bringing those arms behind you. Remember, we're taking nice, big, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose or mouth. We're going to rotate those back toes. Again, keeping our legs exactly where they are and bringing those arms down to shoulder length. Shoulder height. And then either coming to prayer, hands behind, or extending. We want that gaze to follow our front, arm, and legs. From here, I'm going to take that front forearm, drop that on that front knee, take that opposite arm, open up that chest, and let that arm find its way up to the ceiling, letting our gaze follow. You can choose to stay here, again, or if you need to grab that block, textbook, pillow, whatever the case may be. We're going to lift up, fully extend that front leg, and bring that arm down to our mat. Again, that block can be up here, or here. Is up to you. We do not want to add any weight on this front leg. We want to make sure this hand is weightless. Just a few more breaths here. And on that last breath, we're going to slowly come out of this position. So we're going to start by bending that front leg, bringing that front arm back to our thigh, bringing that upper body up, turning those back toes. Again, if that arm is up towards the ceiling, bringing it downward, bringing that chest up, rotating those back toes, and driving that leg back to the top of our mat in our mountain pose. We're going to inhale up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Hands to knees flat back. Exhale all the way down. We're going to step back with our right leg into a low lunge. Stepping back with the left. Bringing the chest all the way down to our mats. Coming up into upward dog. Bring it back down into downward dog. Stepping forward with the right foot again, then the left. Inhaling up and sitting in our chair pose. And back to mountain. Switched it up on you. And again, we're inhaling up. Exhale. Hands to knees flat back. Exhale all the way down. Stepping back with that right leg into a lunge, then the left. Bringing the chest down into an upward dog. Bringing the chest back down, pushing those hips back into a downward dog. Stepping forward with the right leg in a low lunge, then the left. And inhaling up and sitting in our chair pose. We just got one more. Inhaling up. Exhale. Step back with the right, then the left, coming down. Stepping forward with the right. And back to mountain. From here, we're going to go into our tree pose. Actually, before we do that, let's stretch out the arms really quick. So we're going to start with our right arm. Palm is going to face towards our body. We're going to raise our arm all the way up, keeping our shoulder down. And we're going to reach and extend, elongating our arm straight from that shoulder joint. We're not reaching up and over. We're just extending with each breath, reaching just a little bit taller, keeping that body in neutral. Just 3 more breaths. And on that final exhale, we're going to bring that arm back down to our side. On that next inhale, we're going to do the other side. Inhaling up. And reach. With every breath, just try to touch the sky. Just 2 more breaths. And on that last exhale, bringing that arm back down to our side. Now we're going to go into our tree pose. So you can start with whatever leg you feel most comfortable. Whatever leg is going to be your grounding leg. You're going to try to separate your toes, bringing them as far apart as you can, feeling each toe and anchor into your mat, towel, ground, whatever situation you're in right now. That other leg, we're just going to place that heel right above our ankle to get our body alignment before we do any balancing. So when we have our bent leg here, we want to make sure that we're pulling that knee back so it is in line with our hip. We want to keep those shoulders down and back and keep our hips straight, shoulders straight. We want to avoid grabbing that leg and driving it all the way up. We want to let our leg naturally move. We want our leg to either be on our muscle between our ankle and our knee, or the muscle between our groin and our knee. We do not want to have that foot right on that knee bone because that is how we get hurt. So your hands can either be in tree or they can be in prayer. It is up to you. And whenever you're ready, you feel grounded and secure, you're just going to let that leg guide you and tell you where it's going to land. Again, we want to make sure we're pulling that knee back. We want it in line with our hips. If you're feeling advanced or looking for a challenge, take away one of your senses. You can go ahead and close your eyes. It makes balancing a lot more difficult. Still want to be taking deep breaths here, especially here. Adding that balance makes us work a little bit harder. It may be easy to tense or stop breathing so we can focus, but we want to breathe through this. Just a few more breaths. Ooh. If you fall out of your tree, get back in it, wherever that spot may be. If you can't get back in your tree, wait for the other side. We're just going to wait. Just 2 more breaths. And release that leg. That grounded leg, we're just going to shake and roll out because it is feeling all types of things right now. Then we're going to switch to the other side. The same exact setup, trying to bring our toes far apart, really get stable on this one leg, and bringing that opposite leg, bringing that heel to that ankle area. Again, pulling that knee back in line with our hips, shoulders down and back, hands in prayer or in tree. So again, whenever you feel grounded, stable, that next inhale, you're just going to let that leg guide you. Not today. If you're noticing that the left and right side of your body are in completely different places, totally fine. Maybe it's something you want to work on. Maybe it's something you just accept. Whatever it is your choice. Because this class is for you, not for anyone else. If you can, try to smile in your tree. Once we add a strength piece or a balancing piece or something that really throws us off, I feel like we get very serious, especially me and teaching. I feel like I always have a very stern look, but I shouldn't, because I'm happy and we're breathing through this. It doesn't hurt, it feels good. So smile. Just a few more breaths here. And release that leg and shake out that grounded leg. From here, we're just going to transition down to our mat. We're going to lay it all the way back. Take a moment for your body to fully relax, letting it meld into whatever your grounding foundation is. On that next inhale, we're going to raise one leg up towards the ceiling and then place the opposite hand on the outside of that knee. We're going to place the same arm fully extended out. We're going to place that knee across our body in a big spinal twist. You should hear your back crack in all the right places. And then we're going to bring our gaze behind us. Just 2 more breaths here. And on that last exhale, I'm going to release that leg, extending it along our mat, leaving our arm out. We're going to switch to the other side. So we're going to raise that left leg, bringing that opposite arm outside that knee. Same arm extends out. Placing this knee across our body and letting our gaze follow behind us, looking at those fingertips. 2 more breaths. And you're just going to release that leg along our mat, bringing our hands back to our sides. We're going to move into our final relaxation from here, whatever that means for you. You can have your back on your mat, legs fully extended, knees up towards the ceiling. You can be sitting up on your block or your textbook or a pillow. You can be in child's pose. You can be in downward dog if that's what you feel. We're just going to take this time to let our body soak in all of the movement we just did. Let our breathing return to normal, depending on how it was before. And just take this time to be grateful. Thank yourself. And whenever you're ready, just going to roll over to one side. If you have a pillow or a blanket, something you want to put under your head or over your body, feel free to do so. Otherwise, you can just place your arm underneath your head and place your other arm hand flat on your mat. When you're ready, you're going to slowly find your way up to seated position. And do not rush this whenever you are ready. I want to thank you all for spending this time with me. I hope you feel rejuvenated, and I hope that with classes starting, this week hasn't been too crazy and hectic and unmanageable, or if it has been, now you feel like you can take on Friday and next week. I hope that you can spread some positivity to everyone around you. With everyone being back on campus and not being able to do all the things that we're used to doing, we need to find a way to stay socially connected with each other. So I hope that you can spread this energy to those that you see. And I hope classes are going well. Virtual is very different and weird for so many people involved. So I hope that even though this is a weird time, you're still feeling like you're feeling some sense of normalcy and getting back into a routine. I don't say namaste at the end of my classes because it means hello. So I say have a good day in Hindu, which is Mali Kaludam. Feel free to say whatever closing remarks make you feel whole. And I will say Mali Kaludam to all of you. Thank you for taking my class and have a wonderful evening, Gators.